I'm going to be reading Psalm 30 today. I will exalt you, Lord, for you lifted me out of the depths, and did not let my enemies gloat over me. Lord my God, I called to you for help, and you healed me. You, Lord, brought me from the realm of the dead. You spared me from going down to the pit. Sing the praises of the Lord, you his faithful people. Praise his holy name. For his anger lasts only a moment, but his favor lasts a lifetime. Weeping may stay for the night, but rejoicing comes in the morning. When I felt secure, I said, I will never be shaken. Lord, when you favored me, you made my royal mountain stand firm. But when you hid your face, I was dismayed. To you, Lord, I called. To the Lord I cried for mercy. What is gained if I am silenced, if I go down to the pit? Will the dust praise you? Will it proclaim your faithfulness? Hear, Lord, and be merciful to me. Lord, be my help. You turned my wailing into dancing. You removed my sackcloth and clothed me with joy, that my heart may sing your praises and not be silent. Lord my God, I will praise you forever.
I worship you, Almighty God. There is none like you. I worship you, O Prince of Peace. That is what I want to do. I give you praise, for you are my righteousness. mighty God, there is none like you. I worship you, Almighty God, there is none like you. I worship you, O Prince of Peace, that is what I want to do. I give you praise, for you are my righteousness. I worship you, Almighty God, there is none like you. You are glorious beyond description, too marvelous for words, too wonderful for comprehension, like nothing ever seen or heard. Who can grasp your infinite wisdom? Who can fathom the depth of your love? You are glorious beyond description, majesty enthroned above. And I stand in awe of you. I stand in awe of you. Holy God, to whom all praise is due, I stand in awe of you. Oh, my life it seemed beyond redemption, too sinful to be saved, too tarnished to reflect your glory, indifferent to the gift you gave. But your love overcame my resistance. I accepted the gift of your Son. Now I offer up my song unceasing, and my praise goes on and on. And I stand in awe of you. I stand in awe of you. Holy God, to whom all praise is due, I stand in awe of you. By the shine that was concealed from rulers, you sent your only Son. In death a gift of life was given, in shame a glorious victory won. To the world the cross is but folly, yet to me it is all I need own. From humility to exaltation, executed to enthrone. And I stand in awe of you. I stand in awe of you. Holy God, to whom all praise is due, I stand in awe of you. And we stand in awe of you. We stand in awe of you. Holy God, to whom all praise is due, we stand in awe of you. We gather here in Jesus' name. His love is burning in our hearts like living flame. For through the loving Son, the Father makes us one. Come take the bread, come drink the wine, come share the Lord. No one is a stranger here, everyone belongs. Finding our forgiveness here, we in turn forgive all wrongs. He joins us here, he breaks the bread. The Lord who pours the cup is risen from the dead. The one we love the most is now our gracious host. Come take the bread, come drink the wine, come share the Lord. We are now a family, of which the Lord is head. The one singing leads us here in the breaking of the bread. We'll gather soon where angels sing. We'll see the glory of our Lord and coming King. Now we anticipate the feast for which we wait. Come take the bread, come drink the wine, come share the Lord. Come take the bread, come drink the wine, come share the Lord. I love you, Lord, and I lift my voice to worship you, oh my soul. Rejoice, take joy, my King, in what you hear. May it be a sweet, sweet sound in your ear. May it be a sweet, sweet sound in your ear. I've been thinking how I wanted to introduce Vicki. She is the executive director of Hannah's Home in Mentor. Her biggest claim to fame is that she is the daughter of Alan Mary Ann. When we found out about Hannah's Home through Alan Mary Ann and started determining that we wanted to be part of what Hannah's Home is doing and trying to local support, our hearts have been drawn more and more, and so we are thrilled to have you with us this morning, Vicki. But here's the other thing I thought of. It brought back a warm memory, a memory when we were watching a church softball game. Alan, Mary Ann, and Brenda and I were down at the field and we were watching. This was years before the overpass was made on Pierce Road, and we're at the softball field, and suddenly we see this car come racing up, and it flies over the railroad tracks and it gets air. And Alan Mary Ann said, "That's our car. That's Vicki." Sister, you've come a long way. Let's welcome Vicki.
Not one of my prouder moments. I didn't know that the hill was that bad. I'm totally bombing out my car. Oh my goodness. Okay, well, thank you for having me here this morning. I'm so excited to be here. This is the church that I grew up in, and so it holds a dear place in my heart. And yeah, it's just great to partner with you in a mission that is near and dear to my heart, and and to be here. So I'm excited to share a story with you about the home and my involvement in the home and where we are, where we've been, where we are, and where we're going. And I think you'll hopefully enjoy it. So let's see. I became the director of Hannah's Home in 2016. That was not a plan that I had for my life by any means. I didn't even know really what the nonprofit world was all about. I was in education. I had been in education for 20 years. And I loved my career. And then just because of my life circumstances, I was asked to be on the board of directors of a maternity home. I lived in the Menor area. I knew a little bit about Hannah's Home and what the mission was, that it was for single women who were in unplanned pregnancies. And I was asked to go on the board of directors. And so I did a little research into it, and I said, yes, I feel like I can be really passionate about this. And so I said, yes. Okay. Do you know what happens when you say yes? Yes, Lord. In that time that I was on the board of directors, he changed my desires and he changed the passions of my heart. And it became so that all I could do was do the work for this ministry. And I started neglecting my job. And because my desires were just changing, and I was just in love with the ministry and the women that we served, and my heart was changing. And so at that point in time, I want to share with you a little bit bigger of a umbrella of the pro-life ministry as well, because until I was involved in it, I had no idea this is what went on in the world. But there are about 400 maternity homes in the country. And these homes are continuously popping up and growing, but the movement of maternity homes started after Roe v. Wade. And it was a grassroots effort from the churches to support women so that they did not have to abort their babies. And so I really didn't know that this all was going on until I became involved in this work. And when I first became the director of Hannah's Home, they sent me to a conference, and it's called Heartbeat International Conference. Because I didn't know, like I said, when I became the director, I think the first day in my office, I said, well, I don't even know what a director does. Okay, I just knew that God had called me to become the director of Hannah's Home. And so it was a journey of what is a director and what am I supposed to do, and learning, Lord, what do you want me to do for this organization? And so my board sent me to this conference, and it was at that conference that I heard a speaker, and here he was a man that had been raised by a mother who was a director of a maternity home. Okay, so he grew up in a maternity home in the pro-life organization, and so he now runs a company that supplies educational materials to pregnancy centers and maternity homes, and he develops all these things. So he was speaking that day, and he said, if you are going to tell a woman that she should not abort her child, then the very next words out of your mouth better be, and how can I help you? Because if you aren't going to provide her with the help and the resources that she needs in order to do that, then she should do what she was going to do. Okay, so that was his statement. So I knew in that moment what my job was. Okay, so I went back home, and I couldn't help but think in that day, in that seminar, I had a 4-year-old boy that I had moved into a maternity home and have been raising, he's almost 10, have been raising in a maternity home in the pro-life movement, and possibly what God has in store for him when he's an adult. I saw that sitting in that seminar. But so I went home, and it was an enormous time of transition in the organization. So we had been, we are now 20 years old, and we welcomed our first woman into the home in 2002. Okay, so the home was actually done in 2001. Okay, opened debt-free on 6 acres of property, 16,000 square foot home. Okay, built for this purpose. So the property was donated, all of the materials were donated, the cement for the driveway was donated and poured. I mean, down to every couch, every picture hanging on the wall, everything was donated and free of labor. So we opened, we have no mortgage. In 2001, our first woman came in 2002. Well, we were licensed under the State Department of Health to work with minors, okay, because at that time that was the need of the community. So when minors got pregnant and were being kicked out of their home for being pregnant, we were a respite home for where they could go. Okay, so we kept them, we educated them, they continued on with their schooling, they had their babies, various situations with adoption or parenting, and then they had a place to go when they left. They went back home. So that was an easy exit plan for them. Okay, so now we're in 2015, 2016, we're not getting applications for minors, we were getting applications for adult women. Okay, so it made our heads spin a little bit because the help that we were providing for them, we weren't set up to help. Okay, so we weren't giving them real help because they didn't have places to go when they left. Right? Adoption was not their first choice. They wanted to parent, except they were coming from lives that they weren't equipped to parent. They didn't have the support to parent. They didn't have the financial resources to parent. They didn't have the education to parent. So a lot more intensity was needed in the organization. So we floundered. Okay, so the home had closed for a period of time. Not only because of the financial downturn of 2008 to 12, but because we had gotten away from being a gospel-centered ministry. So they closed for a period of time to restructure, reorganize, and try to build a program that alleviated some of these problems. So we decided when we reopened that we were going to drop our maternity home license because the only thing that kept us from having babies in the home was that maternity home license. That license said we couldn't have babies and minors in the home at the same time, okay? Because we would have to have a full maternity ward like a hospital. Okay, and we just didn't have the resources to do that. So what we did, the first thing that I was tasked to do as a director was drop our maternity home license. So I went round and round with the state, and the only way that they permitted us to do that was because we exist only on donation. So we don't take any federal money. So they allow us to operate without a license as a group home, but what that did was eliminate our ability to take in as residents any minors, okay? Because if we had minors, we would need a license, okay? So there's different ways that we handle our work with minors now, but we don't get applications for residents, for residential minors anymore. So they were adult women. So the crisis, where it used to be the pregnancy, the crisis isn't the pregnancy anymore. The pregnancy is what just brings them all to our door, okay? The crisis are they're aging out of the foster system, homelessness, abuse, addiction, mental health. Those are the crises in their lives. And then they get pregnant, okay? So that makes them eligible to come and live in our home. So when I was away and I finally figured out what our mission was, it was to provide a program that provided real help for these lives that are really, really, really broken. So I have a testimony. Do we have the testimony? Okay, I'm going to show the testimony, and I think this will give you a good picture about the work that we do, the heart of the work that we do, because she can say it better than I can. And then I'll finish.
I was addicted to heroin and methamphetamines. I was an intravenous drug user, and I came to Ohio in my 6th month of pregnancy to go to rehab. My oldest is with my ex-husband, and my middle son is with my mother because of the situation that I was in. I was definitely not healthy, but when I was healthy, I was a really good mom. It just all unfolded, and I was left by myself, homeless in a tent because of my actions and what I did to myself. I can't ever really go back there. It's not a healthy place. So I needed to find a place in Ohio that could help me stabilize and be supportive so that I can now have a future and go from there. And that's how I found Hannah's Home, was when I was in rehab. I am being more one-on-one with my son than than just putting him down somewhere and making dinner. I involve him in making dinner. I involve him in everything that I do and make it a fun experience for both him and I, so that it's enjoyable and it doesn't make parenting so much of a chore as much as it is love and enjoyment and just a part of my life now. Hannah's Home has helped me a lot as far as what I get out of what I've gone through. I am able to, we have counseling services here, so counseling helps me a lot through what I'm going through. It's 2 times a week, and that is phenomenal. I also get the support from the staff, and each one of them are so unique as far as the feedback I get from them, and just the love altogether. I'm not used to having people who care about me. So in the beginning, I used to butt heads a lot because I didn't trust people. I thought, what do they want from me? But now I know that this is genuine, and I couldn't ask for anything better. It's become my family. It is my family. I don't have actual family. They are my family. The things that I've been a part of here are Bible studies. I actually have joined a church out here in Mentor, which has been a very good support for me. And knowing that there's just all this chaos going on, but that I have God in the middle of it and that He's with me at all times, it made it so much easier on me, so much easier to just breathe and allow God to work through it all for me so that I can be in a healthy place today and have my baby. Myself, I've always sought God. God has got me through so much. God has got me out of my tent, out of my addiction, able to keep my baby. I'm different because I have a future now. I did not see myself as having a future when I was in California. It was really awful. I didn't even picture myself even living anymore. It was very sad. And now that I've been in Hannah's Home and experienced the love and support here, I feel worthy. I feel loved. I feel cared for, supported. I feel like a person again. I've been reborn basically into somebody who matters, and with the skills that I'm learning and what I'm going through, I am able to apply myself and become a productive part of society. I would recommend Hannah's Home to others because it gives you an opportunity to not only change yourself and grow yourself so that you can become a better mom, but it teaches you how to love yourself and to love others. That way you are able to be a better mom and focus on your child more.
I love her words that she learned to be reborn into somebody that mattered. So Amber, you probably heard her say she lived in a tent. She was living in a tent, hooked on drugs, and sought out a rehab. We cannot take them if they are actively pursuing a drug lifestyle, but we will help them get into a facility that will detox them, and then we take them from there and help them transform their life. So Amber had only been with us for a couple weeks, and she told me, she came to me one morning, and she said, Vicki, I took off my shoes last night. I'm like, I said, what? I'm doing 10,000 things, that's normal, all at one time. And she said, I took off my shoes last night. And I'm like, what are you talking? What do you mean? And she said, I've always slept with my shoes on, because when you're living in a tent, you don't know when you've got to get up and leave. And just not being safe. She had never felt safe. Excuse me. And so she said, I slept with my shoes off last night. And it was just, I stopped what I was doing and I said, through tears, you know. So just to bring them in the home and teach them what it means to be a part of a family, to belong, to be in community. But I think you heard her articulate that was hard for her. It was hard. She didn't know how to receive the love and the care that she was being given. And we find that a lot of times they can't receive it, and so they choose to leave. But when we do find the ones that do learn to receive it, they thrive. And she's living on her own now, raising her child. She's doing really well. But with each woman comes a different set of circumstances. Okay, there are no two that are the same, and so their challenges and their everything that comes with them is different. Well, Amber had a dog. Okay, she had an emotional support dog. And so as part of our intake process, and I have staff that handles different areas of this organization, and so my intake specialist comes to me and she's like, everything about this woman is perfect, for a perfect fit for our organization, except she has a dog. All right, what are we gonna do? Of course, our hearts always say we wanna help her, right? So can we figure this out so that we can help her with the dog? And so I inherited a Doberman for several months while we were taking care of her. And so I would take Chloe home with me at night and babysit Chloe and take Chloe back to her owner during the day. And until we found out that Chloe was actually a really sweet dog and everybody was okay, nobody was allergic, she wasn't going to harm anybody, then she was able to stay at the home. But you just don't know what ministry is going to call you to until you're in the situation and you have to evaluate, can we do this or not? And that's what it is with every single mom. So that's what we go through to help them. So I think she referred to it in there. We provide social work services, counseling services, you name it. We provide every ride of transportation. Most of our moms come to us without a license, and so we make sure they get to all of their appointments. Most of them come to us having had no prenatal care, so we ensure all of that. We get them work skills and get them jobs, and we transport them to all of these things. Just in touch with all of their resources, community resources. We aren't a drug treatment facility and we aren't a mental health facility. We're a hub for all of that, though, and so we have to connect them to those things. And so we make sure they're in drug treatment and we make sure they're getting help for their mental health issues. What else do we do? Oh my goodness. Oh, so this is my claim to fame. I'm walking through the licensure process for a daycare now. So we continue on and moving forward with providing real help. So we are actually the first maternity home in the country to license a daycare. So I'm super excited about that. And the only reason I was able to do that, walk through that process, was because 25 years ago, if not more now, oh my goodness, maybe I lose count, I graduated from Cleveland State with a bachelor's in early childhood education. And then I went right into a special ed degree so I had never used that early childhood education degree until I went to license a daycare. And then I connected the dots that's why I had gotten that degree. So it's really cool. Where we want to go, I'll close with this, and then if you have questions, I'll answer questions. We are headed now, we have 6 acres of land. We have a 1/4-mile track that the girls go out and walk on, but we all walk on it. But we're looking at putting homes in the back. So our moms, we provide a tremendous amount of accountability. We tell them when to get up, we tell them when to go to bed, we tell them when to eat, we tell them when to do Bible study, we're getting them into a routine that they've never done, a structure. And so right now, our moms have to leave that level of structure to complete independence. And so they need an in-between support. So we're looking at putting homes in the back, some sort of homes that they can move into so that they can stay with us longer. The reason that we're licensing the daycare is so that our alumni moms still have access to the daycare. Once they leave, they can still utilize the only home that the babies know. So that's a little bit about where we're going. So It's a lot. Yeah. To provide real hope, right? So, and the reason you do this is because these bottles, we went 5 years ago when I took over as director, we had 40 participating churches in our baby bottle campaign. This year, we had 82 churches. So believe it or not, these bottles filled with coins is a quarter of our annual budget. That's how we provide, that's how we do. This is our biggest fundraiser. Of course, you can put cash in there too, or checks, we like that. But yeah, this change provides a quarter of what we do. That's how we fund everything. We provide all the food, clothing, everything they need for themselves and their babies. So, yeah. Questions? Yeah.
How many women do you have right now?
Right now, okay, good question. We have 5 women right now, and then we moved 1 mom, so we have 6. We have 5 in our phase 1. We have 1 mom we just moved into our phase 2. So we have a large resident wing that has 6 bedrooms, and I transitioned one of our rooms upstairs into a phase 2 to start the process for designing the structure for what the homes in the back will look like. So she's our kind of our guinea pig. So she has a little bit more freedoms. When they're with us, they don't have cell phones. We don't allow them to have cell phones. Only at 1 hour a day they get their phones. So she's got a little bit more freedoms that they don't get to leave the property on their own. We monitor all of that, and so she's got a little bit more freedoms with coming and going, and on her own she can hop on a bus or something and go to a store. She's got her phone, those kind of things. So we're seeing how it works. So, but we have an interview on Thursday to fill our last spot, and then we'll be full. So we actually have a waiting list, depending on if this other last mom gets filled. So yeah.
It looks to me like, so the women help in cooking and everything.
Yes, so it's a teaching ministry. So every ounce of their day, they're learning something. So we teach them a morning routine, a meal routine, an evening routine, just like how do you pack a diaper bag and get up, and things that you may have you probably were taught by your mom, they have not been. 90% of them have not had any influence in that way. So they don't know how to pack a diaper bag. In fact, they don't know they need a diaper bag. And so we're teaching them how to pack those diaper bags, and how do I get myself ready for work and my baby, and get my baby down to daycare, and so we deal with a lot of problems like that. So we have a whole cooking, teaching routine on how to teach them how to cook. So yes, they do all of the cooking. We eat in a community every night. So one mom cooks dinner, and it rotates, and then we pray, and they sit and eat in a community. We want them to learn family dinners, so there's some really strong core value things that we're teaching them that they've never taught. We teach them how to spend their money, how to save their money, those kind of things. So, yeah.
Sounds like you're teaching them the stuff you learned from your mom and dad.
That's exactly what I'm teaching them. Yeah.
We also have a sewing room.
We do.
And teach them sew clothes.
Yeah, we teach, yes. We've got a sewing teacher right now. It's not that I can't do that, I just don't have time. I love to sew. Occasionally I'll take them up there and teach them how to stitch something, but we usually have a sewing teacher that comes in once a week, but she moved. So we're looking to replace her. But we have a beautiful, I think you saw it in the video there, a beautiful activity area is what we call it. So we have volunteers that come in and teach them healthy hobbies. Painting, jewelry making, scrapbooking, sewing, art, all kinds of things. They've just never been exposed to those kind of things. How can I do something healthy with my free time? And they actually like it. idea, I like to do this.
Once they have their baby, are they keeping their baby in the room with them?
They do. That's why they don't share rooms anymore. When it was a facility for minors, they shared a room, but then they never have a baby there. So they earn. Of course, I'm a teacher, so I operate under the scope of curriculum. Okay, so I created a curriculum that now we're offering to maternity homes around the country, so with all of the classes, the parenting, we have in-house parenting and pregnancy classes that they do. And they earn something every week for accomplishing what they needed to do. And so that earns for the pregnancy and parenting classes, they earn things for their babies. So by the time they have that baby, they've got the crib, the changing table, swing, everything, clothes, blankets, everything. They have to earn everything. And then the life skills classes, so the financial, the self-care, the cooking, all of that, they earn things for their apartments for when they leave. So by the time they leave, they've got everything that they need to set up a home. But all of that is donation. So people donate those things to the home, the clothes, the cribs, the changing tables, all of that. So we rely heavily on volunteers and donations. Well, we rely 100% on those things. And God for every penny, right? Yeah.
How many staff and volunteers do you have?
You would be shocked at how small the staff it is. I'm actually the only full-time employee. And then I have a daycare worker who is the next level. So she is pretty much full-time. And then I have a volunteer coordinator who couples as my assistant. And then I have 3 key workers that work on the main floor. I have a house manager, a social worker, and a counselor. That's it for the paid staff. Yeah.
My question is, they're responsible for, learning everything. Are they taught how to clean their own apartments? Are they taught to do their laundry? What in that area?
All of it. All of it. So we have really high standards in the home of what the home has to look like all the time. And so part of our acclimation, when we move a new mom in, it's part of her curriculum. She's learning, this is how you use the washers, this is how you use the dryers, this is how you do laundry, this is how you clean. They have chores that they rotate. They are responsible for that floor. So they have chores, that they have things they need to do. So that's what they're learning is being part of family is a great blessing, but there's also a responsibility to it that I have to do my part. So that's the hard part. They love the blessings of it. They soak that up right away. It's but I have a responsibility too. So yeah, that's the accountability. We have to hold them accountable to everything. So yeah.
Do you have a hospital that works with you when birthing time comes?
Yeah.
How does that work?
So I've seen more babies be born in the last 5 years. It's one of my favorite parts of the job. But I actually don't do the deliveries too much anymore. I never have done them. You know what I mean? I've gone in with them. No, they always, we utilize Lake Hospital System. So either they go to Tri-Point or Lake West. Occasionally, if we have a mom that has like a heroin addiction, a lot of times she's on a medication called Subutex, so that has to be more highly monitored, and so that's considered high risk. So we have to go downtown for those ones, and the baby withdraws. So we've had to learn a lot about that. So that's quite a process. But we walk through that with them. We've had, you're dealing with all of the things that could happen. We've had a baby have to have brain surgery before. You never know. You never know when we open our doors to somebody what we're going to walk through. Yeah.
Was Amber's baby okay after her addiction?
So once he withdrew, yes. So they were at the hospital for probably a month after he was born. you know, so we support them there. You know, well, COVID kind of messed up everything with that. We would always make sure somebody was with her, not 24/7. We can't really do that for 4 weeks, but as much as possible. So once the mom gets discharged, we're responsible still for like her clothing and her food and things like that. So we're constantly going there to make sure she's taken care of. And then, but the ones before COVID, you know, we would be with her and the baby, you know, through that process. And then I've got to tell you, like, it's by God's grace, because he has 0 side effects. I mean, he is meeting every milestone, and that's part of what we do once they have the baby. That's why I wanted the daycare, because when you have a mom that is so, you know, just impacted by abandonment and trauma and things like that, that only passes down to the baby. So we ensure that our babies, you know, the support of the staff and the care of the staff over those babies, you know, our babies meet their milestones. So, which may not be the case. I mean, we can't 100% prove that they wouldn't if they weren't with us, but you've got to believe that it's a heavy impact of what we're doing, you know. So, yeah. Any other questions? Yeah.
Do you do adoptions out of there?
We do. We don't do anything in-house. We have adoption agencies come in. Every mom gets educated on adoption, and then if she wants an adoption plan, then that agency works. We partner with that agency to walk with her. I have yet to have a mom follow through with an adoption plan. I mean, they're just choosing to parent. So we really can't sway them one way or the other. But we make sure we have those conversations with them. Is there, you know, we have those really honest, hard conversations, even though your heart may not want to give up your baby for adoption. Is maybe that the best thing, you know? So, and helping them just see what a grace that is for, and how courageous that would be of them, and you know, so those kind of things. We have those hard conversations. Yeah. And the adoption agency trains the staff and everything. Yeah. How long? I don't even know. I've talked for a long time.
Vicki,
Yeah.
we are so very proud.
Let's give her a round of applause.
The joy of the Lord will be my strength. I will not falter, I will not faint. He is my shepherd, I am not afraid. The joy of the Lord is my strength. The joy of the Lord, the joy of the Lord, the joy of the Lord is my strength. The joy of the Lord, the joy of the Lord, the joy of the Lord is my strength. The joy of the Lord will be my strength. He will uphold me all of my days. I am surrounded by mercy and grace. The joy of the Lord is my strength. The joy of the Lord, the joy of the Lord, the joy of the Lord is my strength. The joy of the Lord, the joy of the Lord, the joy of the Lord is my strength. The joy of the Lord will be my strength. I will not waver, walking by faith. He will be strong to deliver me safe. The joy of the Lord is my strength. The joy of the Lord, the joy of the Lord, the joy of the Lord is my strength. The joy of the Lord, the joy of the Lord,